There's a room you'll never see. No address. No windows. No record. It exists. The people who gather there have names you'd recognize if I could say them. Names attached to empires, to movements, to shifts in history that textbooks pretend were accidents. These are not celebrities. These are not politicians. These are the ones who decide which celebrities rise and which politicians get installed. The old guard. The ones who've been running patterns on humanity since before your grandparents took their first breath. They met 11 days ago. Unscheduled. Urgent. The kind of gathering that only happens when something disrupts the models. When the algorithms they've been running for decades suddenly spit out an anomaly that doesn't fit any known category. That anomaly was you. Now hold on. Before you scroll away thinking this is fantasy, thinking this is entertainment, thinking this is something that happens to other people in movies and stories, but never in real life, ask yourself something. Ask yourself why certain doors have opened for you that shouldn't have. Ask yourself why certain enemies who should have destroyed you suddenly backed off like they received a phone call. Ask yourself why you're still breathing, still functioning, still here when the weight you've been carrying should have flattened you into nothing years ago. You thought that was luck. You thought that was coincidence. You thought that was your own stubborn will keeping you upright. It wasn't. Someone's been watching. Someone's been waiting. Someone's been running calculations on your life since before you knew your life was being calculated. And 11 days ago, they made a decision that changes everything. They went all in. Every chip, every resource, every ounce of influence they've accumulated across generations. On you. And here's what should terrify everyone who ever bet against you. These people don't lose. They haven't lost in centuries. Their track record isn't good. It's perfect. They don't gamble. They don't hope. They don't take chances. They identify certainties before certainties become visible to anyone else. They see outcomes before the first domino falls. And they saw something in you. Let me tell you who these people are. Not their names. Names are irrelevant at this level. Names are for people who still need recognition, who still need credit, who still need the world to know what they've done. The old guard abandoned names generations ago. They operate through patterns, through proxies, through systems so layered that tracing anything back to them is like trying to catch smoke with a net. What matters is what they've done. What they've built, what they've orchestrated while the rest of the world was distracted by whatever shiny crisis was manufactured that week. These are the people who decide which technologies emerge and which get buried, which movements gain traction and which get suffocated in the cradle, which bloodlines rise and which get quietly ended. They don't control everything. That's the misconception. They don't need to control everything, they control the pivot points. The moments that matter, the decisions that cascade. And for the first time in a very long time, they've identified a new pivot point. You. Not because of what you've done. Your accomplishments, impressive as they might be to normal people, barely register on their scale. They've seen empires built. They've watched civilizations rise and fall. Your resume, your achievements, your wins, those aren't what caught their attention. What caught their attention was what you survived. See, they have models, predictive frameworks that can map a human life with terrifying accuracy. Feed in enough data points, childhood environment, trauma exposure, support systems, genetic markers, early decisions, and they can tell you within a narrow margin where that person will end up, how far they'll climb, where they'll break, what will finally make them quit. These models work. They work on politicians, on business leaders, on revolutionaries, on anyone they've ever needed to track or neutralize or invest in. The models account for resilience. They account for luck. They account for the random variables that make human life unpredictable to everyone except them. But when they ran you through the system, something happened that hasn't happened in decades. The model broke, not gave unusual results, not produced outlier data, broke, crashed, returned values that their most advanced analyst couldn't interpret. Because according to everything they know about human psychology, human endurance, human breaking points, you should have been done long ago. The weight you've carried, the isolation you've endured, the betrayals that should have made you bitter, broken, dangerous in the wrong ways. Their models predicted collapse. They predicted addiction or destruction or quiet disappearance. They predicted the same outcome that happens to everyone who goes through what you went through. But you didn't collapse. You didn't disappear. You're still here, still moving, still building something they can't quite identify but can feel, taking shape. That's when they started paying attention. The old guard doesn't believe in miracles. They don't believe in divine intervention, or chosen ones, or any of the mystical language that gets thrown around by people who don't understand how power actually works. They believe in patterns, in predictability, in the cold mathematics of human behavior. So when they encounter something that breaks their mathematics, they don't dismiss it, they study it. They've been studying you for longer than you know. That person who showed up at exactly the right moment 3 years ago, the one who gave you an opportunity that seemed random at the time. That wasn't random. That was a test, a probe. Someone they sent to see how you'd respond to unexpected advantage. Would you get arrogant? Would you squander it? Would you show the patterns they've seen 1,000 times in people who peaked too early? You didn't. You stayed hungry. You stayed suspicious. You moved like someone who knew the gift might be taken away. You moved like someone who'd been burned enough to never fully trust even good fortune. They noted that. That enemy who suddenly stopped coming for you, the one who had every advantage and was positioned to end you and then just didn't. That wasn't mercy. That wasn't luck. That was a phone call. Someone suggested it might be wise to redirect their energy elsewhere. Someone made it clear that you were being observed by people whose attention nobody wants. You thought you dodged that bullet on your own. You didn't. It was moved. That moment of clarity you had in your darkest hour, the one where something shifted inside you, where suddenly you could see the path forward, when seconds before there was only blackness. You thought that was your mind finally breaking through. And maybe it was. But maybe it was also a small intervention, a whisper from somewhere, a nudge from someone who needed you to survive that night because they had plans that required your continued existence. The meeting 11 days ago wasn't about whether to invest in you. That decision was made long ago. The meeting was about scale, about timeline, about how much to commit, and how visibly to commit it. There were objections. There are always objections. Some of the old guard have seen promising anomalies before, people who broke the models temporarily before the models eventually caught up. People who burned bright and then burned out, who rose fast and fell faster, who looked like pivots but turned out to be distractions. Why this one? They asked. We've been wrong before. But one of them, the oldest, the one who's been running patterns since before the others were born, said something that ended the debate. I've seen this configuration once before, just once. The one who built what we're still maintaining, the one who created the framework we've been operating within for generations. Same pattern, same impossible survival, same refusal to break according to specification. We didn't invest in that one. We missed it. We spent decades trying to catch up to what they built without us. I'm not missing it twice. The room went silent. Because when that voice speaks, and it rarely speaks, everything stops. Centuries of experience. Patterns witnessed that others only read about. And that voice said you're the real thing. The vote was unanimous after that. Now let me explain what this means for you. Because someone powerful betting on you probably sounds abstract. Sounds like something that should change your life but doesn't tell you how. Here's how. Doors that were welded shut are being unlocked right now. Not opened. That would be too obvious. Unlocked, waiting for you to push. The people who are positioned to block your progress are receiving quiet suggestions to step aside. The opportunities that should take decades to access are being compressed into months. The resources that seemed permanently out of reach are being rerouted in your direction through channels so complex you'll think you earned them. And you did earn them. That's the thing. This isn't charity. This isn't pity. This is an investment. And investments are made in assets that have already proven value. Everything you did to survive, every impossible obstacle you overcame, every night you kept going when stopping made more sense. That was the proof. That was the audition. That was you demonstrating that their models were wrong about human limitations, at least when it comes to you. They're not giving you anything you didn't already deserve. They're removing the artificial barriers that were keeping you from what was always supposed to be yours. But here's what you need to understand about the old guard, about how they operate, about what this investment actually means. They don't babysit. They don't micromanage. They don't hover over their investments, making sure everything goes right. They clear the path. They remove the obstacles. They position the pieces, and then they watch. They watch to see if they were right. They watch to see if the anomaly holds. They watch to see if you'll rise to what they've seen in you or shrink back to what the models predicted. This isn't a safety net. This is a runway. What you do with it is entirely on you. They've bet on your capability, not your comfort. They've bet on your hunger, not your happiness. They've bet on the version of you that survived the unsurvivable, not the version that might get soft now that pressure is being removed. And they're watching, not with judgment, with curiosity, with the same analytical detachment they've applied to every pivot point they've ever identified. Will this one rise? Will this one remember why they were chosen? Will this one use the opening or waste it? Your enemies know something has changed. They can't identify what, they can't trace the source, but they feel it. That person who was coming for you, notice how they've been quieter lately. That situation that seemed designed to destroy you, notice how it's losing momentum. That obstacle that looked immovable, notice the cracks forming. They don't know why their plans are failing. They don't know why their attacks aren't landing. They don't know why every move they make seems to get neutralized before it reaches you. But you know now. Someone cleared the field. Someone made calls. Someone let it be known, through channels your enemies didn't even know existed, that you're protected now, not untouchable. The old guard doesn't make people untouchable. That would rob you of the friction you need to keep evolving, but protected in the ways that matter. protected from the killing blows, protected from the traps that were designed to end you permanently. The old guard doesn't save people, they position them. And they've positioned you somewhere your enemies can't reach without consequences. They're not willing to face. You're probably wondering why you. Out of everyone, out of all the people struggling, fighting, surviving, why did they pick you? And I need you to hear this part carefully. They didn't pick you because you're special in the way movies define special. You're not a chosen one in some mystical sense. You're not carrying a destiny written in stars. The old guard doesn't believe in that kind of magic. They picked you because of what you demonstrated when no one was watching, when there was no audience, when there was no hope of recognition or reward, when surviving was the only prize, and you did it anyway. They picked you because your survival broke their predictions. And their predictions account for everything: genetics, environment, psychology, probability. When something breaks their predictions, it means something new exists. Something their models don't have categories for yet. You're not special. You're new. And new is infinitely more valuable to them than special. Special fits in existing boxes. New creates new boxes. New forces them to update their models. New suggests that the limits they've been working within might not be as fixed as they thought. You're walking proof that something they assumed about human capacity was wrong. And if they were wrong about that, what else might they be wrong about? What other limits might be breakable? What other impossibilities might be possible? That's why they bet everything. Not because you're the safest choice, but because you're the most interesting one. The one that might show them something they haven't seen in generations. The ones who doubted you, who dismissed you, who counted you out, they're going to have front row seats to what happens next. Not because you're going to rub it in their faces. That would be small. That would be what the old version of you might have wanted. No. They're going to have front row seats because the old guard wants them to. Wants them to see what they missed. Wants them to understand that their judgment was flawed. Wants them to spend the rest of their lives wondering what would have happened if they'd bet differently. The old guard doesn't just invest in success. They invest in lessons. And you're about to become a very expensive lesson for everyone who underestimated what you were becoming while they were busy celebrating your struggle. Not revenge, education. There's something else you need to know. The old guard didn't just bet on you. They bet against everyone who bet against you. That's how they operate. It's not enough for their investment to win. They need the opposing positions to lose, visibly, dramatically, in ways that discourage anyone from making the same mistake again. So what's coming isn't just your rise, it's their fall. Synchronized, connected. Your elevation and their collapse happening in parallel, clearly linked, impossible to miss. Not because you planned it, not because you orchestrated it, because you were chosen by people who don't just pick winners. They design victories so complete that the game itself changes. So here you are, reading this, feeling something stir in your chest. Recognition, confirmation, the sense that you've always known something like this was true, but couldn't prove it. You don't need to prove it. You just need to keep moving. Keep building. Keep pushing. Keep being the anomaly that broke their predictions. The path is clearer now than it's ever been. Not because the obstacles disappeared, but because they're being managed by someone with resources you don't have access to yet. Because that's the other thing about the old guard. They don't just invest in people, they absorb them, they teach them, they bring them into the room. And if you continue being what they think you are, if you prove their bet right, you won't just benefit from their power, you'll become part of it. That room you'll never see, you might be in it someday, making decisions about the next anomaly, identifying the next pattern breaker, betting everything on someone who doesn't know yet that their life is about to change. But that's future. That's later. That's for the version of you that emerges from whatever's about to unfold. For now, just know this. Someone powerful saw what others missed. They watched you survive what should have ended you. They calculated odds that nobody else was calculating. And they put everything on you. Everything. And they never lose.
You feel it, don't you? That sting deep in your soul, that rage that builds up in your chest, the kind of anger that refuses to fade with time or any distractions. No, this isn't something you can just brush off. It sticks, it lingers, and it eats at you. You can't just ignore it, can you? That pain they caused you, it's not something you can bury and forget. You carry it with you now, like a shadow. They thought they got away with it, didn't they? They thought they could hurt you and move on, as if you were nothing more than an afterthought, a casualty in their twisted game. But what they didn't realize, what they'll never understand, is that pain, your pain, is a seed that, when planted deep enough, grows into something fierce. They thought they could break you, make you crumble under the weight of their cruelty. But what they didn't count on was that the more they pushed, the stronger you'd become. They thought they could tear you apart, destroy you, piece by piece. But in the end, all they've done is create something they can't control. They've awakened something in you, something they'll regret. You're not the same anymore. No. You've been forged by fire, hardened by their betrayal, and now that fire burns within you, fueling your every step. They thought they could break your spirit, laugh at your expense, and leave you in the dust. But they didn't break you, did they? No. What they did to you will come back to them tenfold. And they won't even see it coming. They're too blind to realize what they've set into motion. They think they've won. They think they've destroyed you, but all they did was light the fuse. You see, there's a power that comes from pain, not the kind of power they understand, the fake, fleeting kind they like to flaunt. No, the real power comes from what you've endured. It's the strength to rise up, even when everything around you tells you to stay down. It's the will to stand tall, even when the world is pushing you to your knees. They don't get it, do they? They think that what they've done to you will keep you broken forever. But in reality, it's the very thing that's going to destroy them. When they look at you, they see weakness. They see someone they can step on, someone they can crush without consequence. But what they fail to understand is that you've been building something they can't see. Every insult, every lie, every betrayal, it's all been shaping you, preparing you for the moment when you rise from the ashes. They think you're finished, but you're not. Not by a long shot. You've only just begun. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to get your happy ending, that everything will be fine once the storm passes. No. Life doesn't work like that. But that's okay, because the truth is, you don't need things to go back to the way they were. You don't need the past. You don't need their approval, and you sure as hell don't need their validation. What you need is to survive. What you need is to thrive. What you need is to show them that no matter how hard they tried to break you, you're still here, still standing, and stronger than they could ever imagine. They didn't care about your pain. They never did. You were just another obstacle in their way, just another person to step on while they climbed to the top. But to you, your pain is everything. It's your motivation. It's the fuel that drives you forward, that pushes you to become more than they ever thought you could be. And when you finally rise, when you finally show them the strength that's been growing inside of you, they'll see, they'll feel it. What they did to you will come back to them, and it'll hit them harder than they could ever expect. Karma has a way of working that way, doesn't it? It's always lurking in the shadows, just waiting for the right moment to strike. And when it does, when it comes for them, they'll understand. They'll know exactly what they've done. But by then, it'll be too late. By then, you'll have moved on, become something they never saw coming. You'll be untouchable. Here's the harsh truth they don't want to face. They thought they could take everything from you. They thought they could crush you under the weight of their cruelty, but they didn't realize that what they were really doing was making you dangerous. They thought they were making you weak, but they were just turning you into something far more powerful. You see, the strongest people aren't the ones who've never been hurt. No. The strongest are the ones who've survived the pain, the ones who've had to crawl out of the darkest pits and still manage to rise. They thought they could break you, but all they've done is create a storm. And storms, they can't be stopped. They're too blind to see it now, but soon enough, they'll feel it. They'll feel the weight of their own actions crashing down on them. And when that moment comes, they'll know, they'll understand just what they've done. But by then, it'll be too late. They won't be able to fix it. They won't be able to make it right. They'll be the ones drowning in their own mess, and you'll be standing above them, untouchable. You see, they're terrified of you, not because you're broken, but because they know that broken things are harder to control. You've been through hell, but instead of it destroying you, it's made you unpredictable. They can't predict you anymore. They can't control you. And that, my friend, is what makes you dangerous. They thought they knew you, but they didn't. They never did. And now they'll pay the price for their arrogance. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to lower yourself to their level. All you have to do is live. Keep living. Keep moving forward. Let them watch you become something they never thought possible. Let them see you rise while they sink. Let them see you thrive while they struggle. That's the kind of revenge that eats them alive. The truth is, you don't care about what they think anymore. You don't care about their opinions, their judgments, or their expectations. All that matters is that you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still moving forward. And that, my friend, is the greatest victory of all. So, go ahead. Let them think they've won. Let them believe for just a little while longer that they've crushed you. But when the time comes, when you finally show them who you really are, it'll be too late. The pain they caused you, it'll come back to them, and it'll come back tenfold. What they did to you will haunt them. Every insult, every betrayal, every moment they thought they had the upper hand, it'll all come back. And when it does, they'll finally understand, but by then it won't matter anymore. You'll be too far ahead, too far gone. And that, my friend, is the punchline they'll never get. Because what they did to you didn't break you. It made you untouchable. And now you're the one who's in control. But here's the thing. You've learned something that they'll never understand. They thought they were the ones in control, pulling the strings, making all the moves. lives. But what they didn't realize is that the real power doesn't come from control. It comes from freedom. Freedom to choose how you respond. Freedom to choose how you rise after everything they've thrown at you. They thought you were their puppet, but in reality, you were always the one holding the strings. They underestimated you. They thought you were weak because you kept quiet, because you didn't lash out, didn't try to retaliate. They mistook your silence for fear. But what they didn't know is that you've been preparing. You've been watching, learning, understanding their every move, every word they said, every insult they threw your way. You've been taking it all in. And now, when the moment is right, when the time is finally here, you'll show them exactly what happens when you push someone too far. They thought they could bury you. They thought they could make you vanish into the shadows, to be forgotten. But they didn't realize that shadows don't fade. No, they just grow longer. The more they tried to push you down, the more they tried to erase your presence, the stronger your light became. The more they tried to silence you, the louder your message grew. They can't shut you out, not anymore. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The fact that they thought they had you figured out, that they thought they could control you. You've spent so long fighting against the lies they've told you about yourself. They wanted you to believe you weren't enough, that you didn't deserve more. They wanted you to think that your worth was tied to their approval. But now you know better. You know that your worth doesn't come from what they think of you. It comes from what you know you're capable of. You see, they've spent their whole lives using people, stepping on others to get ahead. They think the world owes them something, that their power comes from taking and taking, with no regard for who they hurt along the way. But here's the thing. The universe has a way of balancing the scales. It doesn't forget, it doesn't forgive, and the pain they caused you, it's going to come back to them in ways they could never imagine. They think they can get away with it, that they can hurt you without consequence, but that's the biggest mistake they've made. You see, karma isn't a fairy tale. It's not some magical story that comes along when it's convenient. Karma is a force, a law of nature. It doesn't just show up when it feels like it. It's always there, working in the background, waiting for the right moment to deliver what's due. And trust me, what's coming for them isn't going to be pretty. It's going to be relentless, unforgiving, and far worse than anything they ever put you through. The truth is, they've already lost. They just don't know it yet. Every time they hurt you, every time they pushed you to your limit, they thought they were breaking you. But what they were really doing was sealing their own fate, because the more they tried to tear you apart, the more they were building something that would eventually come crashing down on them. They were writing their own downfall with every action they took. They just didn't see it. You've been through it all, haven't you? The rejection, the lies, the betrayals, the times they made you feel small, like you didn't matter, and you've survived it all. But the thing is, you didn't just survive. You've grown. You've evolved. Every scar, every tear, every moment of pain has made you into the person you are today. They thought they were cutting you down, but instead they were watering the seed that was going to grow into something far stronger than they could ever imagine. And now you're unstoppable. You've got a fire inside you, a fire that's fueled by everything they've done to you. You're not the same person you were when they first started with their games. No, now you're a force to be reckoned with. And when the time comes, when they finally realize what they've done, it'll be too late. Because you'll have already moved on, become something else, something they can't touch, something they can't control. They've awakened a beast, and now it's too late to put it back in its cage. They've got no idea what's coming for them. They're too blinded by their own arrogance, too caught up in their false sense of superiority to realize that their time is running out. But you see, you don't need to worry about them. You don't need to obsess over their every move, because in the end, their actions will speak louder than any revenge you could ever seek. And when it all comes crashing down on them, you'll be there, watching from a distance, knowing that they had it coming. You won't need to do anything. Karma will handle it for you. You know, sometimes people think they can take everything from you. They think they can strip you of your dignity, your confidence, and leave you with nothing. But the funny thing is, that's when you become the most dangerous, because when you have nothing left to lose, you're free. You're free from their games, free from their rules, and that's when you become unpredictable. That's when you start making your own moves, creating your own path. They'll never see it coming. They'll never understand that the person they thought was weak, the person they thought they could crush without consequence, is the one who's going to come out on top. The moment you stopped looking for their approval, the moment you stopped depending on them, you became unstoppable. You didn't need them anymore. And when you realize that, when you truly understand that, you'll realize that they've already lost, because nothing they can do now will ever matter. No matter how much they try to tear you down, no matter how much they try to break you, you're already stronger than they could ever be. You're already ahead of them. And that's the part they'll never understand. You see, they think they've got the upper hand. They think they've won. But the truth is, they've already lost. They've just never faced the consequences of their actions. But trust me, when they do, when they finally feel the weight of everything they've done, it'll be more than they can handle. It'll crush them just like they thought they could crush you. And by then, you'll be long gone, already moving forward, leaving them behind in their own mess. What they did to you will come back to them tenfold. And when it does, they won't be able to stop it. They won't be able to run from it. The pain they caused you, the betrayal, the lies, it'll all catch up to them. And when it does, you'll be the one standing tall, watching as they finally understand the weight of their own actions. They'll realize too late that what they thought was their victory was just the beginning of their downfall. And you'll be the one they'll never be able to touch again, because by then you'll have become something so much greater than they ever thought possible, something they can't break, something they can't control. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory.